Samsung didn't shout this from a keynote stage. They didn't tease it in flashy trailers, and most leaks brushed past it. But the Galaxy S26 Ultra quietly becomes a world first in a way that could reshape how smartphones are built, priced, and controlled. And here's the unsettling part. One of its biggest upgrades could actually limit power users more than it empowers them. If you enjoy pulling apart tech announcements, exposing what brands conveniently gloss over, and connecting dots most channels ignore, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who loves deep tech discussions, and subscribe. This channel is for people who care about what's really happening behind specs. Now let's talk about what Samsung actually did with the Galaxy S26 Ultra, because this phone isn't about loud improvements. It's about quiet decisions with long-term consequences. The most important change isn't the camera, the chip, or even the design. It's the display. Samsung is officially the first company to ship an AI-driven privacy display system on a flagship smartphone. This isn't a basic privacy filter or darkened viewing angle trick. The screen actively analyzes how the phone is being viewed and selectively blocks side-angle visibility in real time, without killing brightness or touch responsiveness. That alone changes what a smartphone display is. For the first time, the screen isn't just hardware, it's software-aware hardware. And that distinction matters more than people realize. Once a display becomes adaptive and intelligent, Samsung can start controlling what content appears, where it appears, and how it's perceived depending on context. Today, it's privacy. Tomorrow, it could be selective dimming for sensitive apps, banking screens that physically restrict viewing angles, or region-based content control baked directly into the panel itself. But here's the part Samsung isn't advertising. To make this system work consistently, they reportedly stepped away from chasing record-breaking peak brightness. On paper, the S26 Ultra may no longer be the brightest phone on the market. That's going to look like a downgrade in spec sheets. But in reality, Samsung is prioritizing control over raw output. And once brands choose control, they rarely go back. Then there's the magnetic ecosystem. Another change that sounds small until you connect the dots. Native magnetic alignment means Samsung finally designed the phone with accessories in mind, not as an afterthought. Wireless chargers, battery packs, stands, and future accessories snap on directly without third-party cases. That's convenience, sure, but it's also structural. Once magnets become part of the phone's internal architecture, Samsung loses some freedom in how components are arranged. That might explain why battery upgrades feel oddly conservative this year. Samsung could be trading internal flexibility for ecosystem lock-in, pushing users toward official accessories while quietly limiting future hardware experimentation. The third shift is software, and it might be the riskiest one. Leaks from Samsung's own code suggest the biggest AI transition in Galaxy history. Bixby, long criticized and quietly sidelined, may finally be replaced, or at least overshadowed, by a Perplexity-style AI system deeply integrated into the OS. This isn't just a smarter assistant. This is Samsung attempting to reduce its dependence on Google's AI stack. If it works, Samsung controls its own intelligence layer. If it fails, users feel it every single day. The Galaxy S26 Ultra may end up being remembered not for what it added, but for the moment Samsung decided to stop borrowing brains and build, or buy, their own. Now let's talk about the camera situation, because this is where things get interesting in a different way. The S26 Ultra doesn't bring the massive sensor overhaul many people expected. And that's not an accident. Early leaks already point to major camera changes coming with the S27 Ultra instead. That suggests Samsung is deliberately spacing out hardware leaps, stretching innovation across generations rather than stacking it into one device. For users on older phones, the S26 Ultra still looks tempting. But for recent Ultra owners, Samsung seems comfortable telling you to wait. That's a bold strategy, and it signals confidence, but also restraint. Pricing reinforces that idea. In the US, prices are expected to remain stable. In other markets, increases are already being discussed. That tells us Samsung is segmenting its global strategy more aggressively than ever. Some regions get innovation absorbed into cost. Others quietly pay for it. And when you combine that with restrained hardware upgrades, it paints a picture of a company optimizing margins while laying groundwork for future leaps. What makes the Galaxy S26 Ultra fascinating isn't what it screams. It's what it whispers. Displays that think instead of shine. Accessories that influence internal design. AI that reshapes control over the user experience, and upgrades that feel intentionally held back. This phone doesn't feel like Samsung trying to win 2026. It feels like Samsung positioning itself for the next 5 years of smartphones. The real question is whether users will notice what's being traded away before it becomes the norm. Are we okay with smarter hardware if it also means tighter control? Is convenience worth slower leaps in raw innovation? And when phones stop chasing specs and start shaping behavior, who really benefits in the end? Because the Galaxy S26 Ultra might not be the most exciting phone Samsung has ever made, but it could be the most important turning point they've ever shipped. And once this direction is locked in, there's no going back. So the real story isn't what the S26 Ultra is, it's what it quietly prepares us for next. Now I want to know what you think. Is Samsung playing the long game brilliantly, or are we watching Ultra phones slowly lose what made them special in the first place? And what do you think Samsung hasn't told us yet?